Hey everybody, thanks for checking out this episode of the Warp Chatter podcast, the Horus Heresy Legions podcast for players by players. And a big part of that is you, the players. We have guests on every week to talk about their enjoyment, their fascination with the game, whatever it is that brought them into the hobby, who they are, what they enjoy about Warhammer 40k Horus Heresy Legions. Typically, we've got a guest list out for about 2 or 3 weeks, but it is an open invitation. So if you want to participate and would like to be a guest on our episode, please get in touch with me via Facebook, DM on Discord, or on Reddit, and we'll get you on the guest list. The major requirement there is just, access to Discord and primarily English speaking for ease of communication. But other than that, it doesn't matter what type of player you are, how new you're to the game, if you've been playing the game forever, if you're a top 50 player, if you play events. It doesn't matter if you're an Iron Warriors fan or not. We'd be happy to have you and talk. Actually, I think we've had way more Iron Warriors fans on the show than Imperial Fist fans, but we digress. So that's just a quick plug before we get on with today's episodes, and let's do it.
Do you hear it? Beautiful. Listen closely to the anthem of your demise.
Through the dark veil of space and time.
This is Warp Chatter.
All right. Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Warp Chatter podcast, coming at you from the Eye of Terse Studios. This is the podcast dedicated to talking about the Horus Heresy Legions digital card game, Warhammer lore, Warhammer 40,000, Horus Heresy, everything and anything in between. I am your host, Scuff D. This is a podcast by players, for players. And with me today, we've got a couple players joining us. We're going to be discussing Lodge Wars 5 with our guests. Right now, as of this recording, our Crab co-host is running late. So Crab co-host Axel Man, he'll be popping in here at some time currently, but let's just consider him out at sea. And with us, joining us for the first time is Terse.
Really? It's the first time?
Well, first time on the new format.
The podcast, right.
Yeah.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, you've been on, we've had several, old school Warp Chatter calls before, but this is the first time with this format.
I think we had 2 Warp Chatter calls, but the podcast is totally new to me, but I'm excited, I have to admit.
Different format, so I'm glad you're excited. And then we've also got number 1. I'm going to say JP101. I'm just going to say your whole name there for those who don't know.
That's fair. Hey, it's good to be back.
All right. So, like I said, we are going to be discussing Lodge Wars 5, which is an ongoing tournament series. We are actually in round 3, kicking off. By the time you hear this episode, round 3 should be probably wrapping up with a couple days left to spare. So if you aren't aware what Lodge Wars is, you missed out on the opportunity to sign up for it. As I said, this is the 5th one that has happened, and it's a tournament series that pits lodges against other lodges, or sometimes other lodge or community members, depending on what team they've elected to be on. And we've got some change up in how the format is working this time around, so we'll probably be discussing that a little bit, as well as just some other updates, maybe things to come, kind of see where the conversation takes us. But before we get to that, I do want to mention at the start of this episode, because I think the last 2 episodes I've mentioned it at the end, and just for anybody who kind of dozes off, which is understandable because I doze off with podcasts sometimes too. I am having the promo code contest. Again, I have a promo code contest on my YouTube channel. The rules for that are for card creation, and I have a video that kind of breaks down specifically. So if you have questions on that, but you can submit a card creation for the YouTube contest. And then for the promo code here on the podcast, we're just doing a raffle. Basically, 3 winners get promo codes for 1,000 gold. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is PM me, DM me, find me somewhere, and send me a message. Let me know what your favorite Warp Chatter episode was and why. And then that'll enter your name in the drawing, and October 23rd is the deadline for both of those contests, at which point I'll determine who the winners are. And I'll be giving out 1,000 gold to 6 different people. So, with all that out of the way, let's do some player introductions / recap. So, Juan, you have been on the Warp Chatter with Team America during the World Cup. We had you on along with GMAT and Diamond, or Draconic Slayer, as he is in game. But for those who might have missed that or who forgot, tell us about yourself.
Hey, I'm number Juan JP. I play competitively, usually within top 50. I try going for top 10 every now and then, but it is what it is. I consider myself to be one of the best event players in this game, and I play that very competitively as well. I am currently team captain of Masters of the Universe for Lodge Wars, and I think that's everything for me right now.
All right. Are there other games you played? Tabletop? Any card games, anything like that?
Really, this is about the only game I actually do play. I don't do much else.
Okay. Well, I mean, you do other things, just game-wise. This is what you do.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And Terse, how about you tell us about yourself?
About myself, yeah, I'm not a top 10 player, nor am I a top 50 player, but I sometimes accidentally make it into the top 200, so every now and then. But yeah, I'm one of the most active tournament organizers for the Horus Heresy Legions game, and the current host of Lodge Wars 5 and the former host of Lodge Wars 4. So yeah, about me, I also play some Blood Bowl too, and I'm pretty good in our private league. I think Scuff can confirm that.
This is true. Prior to this call, we were wrapping up our cup game, Ogre versus Ogre, and it was pretty brutal. It was pretty one-sided. I had like 5 players die or something like that before I just conceded. That was brutal. And we've had a couple we had a couple good games in Cup 2 and Cup 3 too, with the it was against your Chaos Dwarves. So
I believe you have been the only player who beat me in Cup 2.
That's right. I will claim that.
Yeah, I had a perfect record else, but the game versus you was a nightmare. I got my revenge today, but the last one, it haunts me. It was horrible. Yeah, and else I'm more of an event player than ladder player in Horus Heresy Legions, but yeah, from time to time I play a bit competitively, but there are many better players than me, I have to admit.
Well, yeah, there are quite a few, and I imagine a good majority of them are in the Lodge Wars teams. I think before we get into the teams, we might want to talk about the format itself a little bit more in detail, because this is the first time with this particular team organization structure. So, I don't know, Terse, you want to kind of explain how the teams are formed in the Lodge Wars 5?
Yeah, sure. I think we should start with former Lodge Wars. Former Lodge Wars have always been 3 players from a lodge who played like best of 3s against each other, and that way a winner was determined. But it never really felt like lodges playing against other lodges. So this time I decided to change the format a bit. And now there's a minimum of 9 players who have to play at some point in the tournament. That way we have way more people from any lodge involved, and it is a bit more like competitive, and I think it also gives you more of a lodge feeling fighting another lodge. So in general, we have, I believe, 18 teams, and every team has like 9 players, and in each round they have to determine 3 players who fight for them. They have to pick 6 different factions and will face off versus another team with 6 different factions. Yeah, so that's the general format. At the moment, we are still in group stages in week number 3. So there are 2 more weeks to come till we get to the playoffs. And yeah, it's so far it's running pretty good, I have to admit. Like, it's more or less the first tournament ever any tournament organizer hosted where every deadline was met. Like, forwarding stuff like team information, who is playing for the upcoming rounds, warlord selections. At the moment, I'm really, really happy about the different team captains who have submitted their choices in time, and I think it's running really, really smooth. So yeah, we could talk a bit about the rewards. Compared to different tournaments, or like other tournaments, Lodge Wars doesn't give you legendary cards of choice if you are winning or like gold. You only do it for the fame and some exclusive card packs. Like, I don't know if you can add a picture of those card packs later to your podcast, like as a banner or something like that. But it's the exclusive Blood Games card packs who are only obtainable through the World Cup and Lodge Wars. So it's a fight for pride, I have to say.
Well, and this is the first Lodge Wars where the card backs were rewarded, correct? Because they weren't an option for Lodge Wars 1, 2, 3, or 4.
No, they haven't been. So far, they have only been distributed in the World Cup, in the first World Cup, and now in the second World Cup again. And since Lodge Wars is the only tournament that is as big as the World Cup, we also were allowed to give them out to the top 3 lodges as well, like the Golden, the Bronze, and the Silver card back. Now, I just wanted to say, so they are pretty much super exclusive. They are one of the rarest card backs you can get, except for like, obviously, ladder card backs or special role card backs.
Like the War Masters, I mean, those would be probably a little bit more exclusive to that degree. But
yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, and I was going to mention there that also you said the top 3 lodges, whereas I think with World Cups it was like the top cut, like if I remember, got a certain amount, but those were also 3 players. Whereas this time around, you mentioned, I mean, the teams are 9 members, so just the top 3 lodges is 27 people getting additional Blood Games card backs. So I think it kind of makes sense, although, you know, it is without gold, without legendary.
It can be up to 20. Like, if you don't have a mixed team, like a pure lodge, and you send like every 20 members of your lodge will obtain the card back. That's like, in theory, up to 60 players can get the gold, silver, and bronze card back. But as it seems right now, most teams are mixed, and in mixed teams, only team players who actually play the game are eligible for a card back. So I think we will see around 30 card backs overall.
Okay. Well, and I know I'm team captain of the Trader's End team. So we are a mixed team. We've got Trader's End, and we've got some players from our casual lodge, Orion. I think Lucarian Ape was on the last episode talking about Night Lords. He's the lodge master there. He's part of that team. We had him, Void Hawk, and the Knights, I think, join to help us hit the 9-player minimum. It was just kind of hard getting some people together who wanted to mix it up and who wanted to even up to 9. And then Juan, you are team captain and masters of the universe, you said?
Yes, sir.
Is that a pure blood team, or is it a mixed blood team?
I would say we're pretty pure blood, per se. We got some of the best players in the game just fighting about. Master class members all about just floating around that didn't make it for the master class cut are making it to the Masters of the Universe cut.
All right.
So I'd say we're pretty solid.
Just to add to it, I got the private mail from Pirate Lahai, and it was like I got all different masterclass teams, their rosters and stuff like that, and I was like asking, is any of the teams a pure lodge? And he was like, no, we are all mixed. They obviously had a tournament within their community to get the best players in one team, the second row in another, and so it sorts down. But it was pretty surprising to see some players who are top 10 players not being on their, I would say, A team, which was really, really surprising.
Well,
I think
yeah,
Konstantin Valder is not on Masterclass. I think he's on Master of Sword. Is that true?
No, he is with us in Masters of the Universe.
He's in the second team, and he's like a top 5 player normally.
Yes.
Well,
so that was really, really surprising.
Yeah, it's pretty stiff. They've got a whole community full of top guys, and you can only get 20. I mean, even the B team can still be an A team. So is Masters of the Universe considered the B team, Juan, or do you consider yourself the A show? Is this Raw or SmackDown? Come on, break it to me.
Really? I don't want to talk smack to the Master Class members, but
no, I'm just ribbing you. It's okay. You don't have to mention that.
If you don't,
they did leave us with quite a few good members, I have to say. The fact that they passed on Constantine, they passed on Whis, they passed on Wintermall. Some of the best players in this game, constant top 50s, constant top 10s. I mean, I'd say we're probably the biggest challenge to Masterclass if we consider them to be the top dogs of this Lodge Wars.
All right.
I would say, like, you are the A team. I mean, your record is so far perfect, and Masterclass lost a matchup. So who's the A team? I think Motu.
Well, I mean, I think their bracket, to be fair, the Masterclass is in a very stiff bracket. They've got Seekers and the Fallen. And is Praetorians in that bracket, or is that in a different group?
No, Praetorians are in Group A, and the Group B is, I think it is the toughest one with Seekers, Fallen, Masterclass. We have Fragile Art and Storbizarre. So it is probably the roughest group, I have to admit. While Group C isn't that bad either. I mean, Traitors End. Then the mixed team, the Unremembered Empire, which is like Iron Hands, and I think there are 3 different lodges in it, and then Officio Assassinarum is really good. Mm-hmm. Then another Seekers team, and the Varg plus Tempestus. What's TMT? What's Tempestus something?
Somebody asked that earlier, and I cannot recall because I know some of the lodges that use like the Latin stuff. Like I just get them mixed up. I know Officio Assassinorum because that's easy for me to remember because it's 40k related. But I don't know the Tempestus Scion or Tempestus. I don't know.
Yeah, something.
Big apologies to anybody who's in those lodges if I don't know your lodge name. I apologize.
I probably get furious private mail from Big Buddies right now. Yeah. So,
which bracket are you in? Are you in? Because I know there's one bracket that's got like 3 different MC teams as well.
I'm in bracket D or bracket C. I'm in the last bracket which contains those 3 teams that are all just Masterclass aficionados.
Ah, all right. So it is the best of the best.
I'd say so.
All right.
What do you think, Sotis?
I think Group D is an interesting group. When I shuffled the groups, it was like in every group there's like one team that I'm not really. I don't know how good they are. Like before the tournament started, I was like, 7 Flash. Which is like every single French lodge I know. It's a mixed team out of France, and I wasn't sure if they are good, if they are mediocre, or if they are like the dark horse of the tournament. And so far, they had some good matches. So and in the Group B, there was like the Fallen. Like I was aware Masterclass would be a top team. I mean, Masterclass is always a favorite to win a tournament just because of the players they have in their community. So it's still surprising that they have never won Lodge Wars while being always in the playoffs and having really good players. So it's some kind of voodoo happening that they don't win it. And Seekers obviously have been a favorite to win with like 3 teams like Seekers 1, 4, and I believe 10 placed in the top 4 in the last Lodge Wars episode. So those two were like, yeah, obviously favorites to advance into playoffs. But the Fallen had really good showings. So I was surprised. And the Unremembered Empire in Group C is also like, I don't know. They could be really, really good. I have no idea at some point. And yeah, and in your group, I wasn't sure how Master Debaters would do because I think they are the third or fourth team, but they have some really, really good guys. Like they have B-Side, who was on Team Germany for the World Cup and placed fourth, I believe, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. So top-notch players, and yeah, so they are interesting at least. So yeah, I'm really interested in weeks 4 or 5 what will happen, because that's something we didn't explain at the start when I talked about the format. You have to send 3 different players every round. Like any player who played in round 1 has to rest in round 2 and is eligible to play in round 3 again. Like you have 1 week in between before you can play again. So the better your roster is overall, the less weak rounds you have. Like if you have like 3 absolutely top players and the rest is more or less mediocre, it's sometimes you have to consider when to send in your best players and when you send weaker players. So that's really interesting for teams like Master Debaters, if they are really, really good throughout the team, or if there's a really good head of the team and a less good rest of the team. That's something I am really curious about when they will play like week 4 and 5, and to see if they have good showings in those weeks as well.
Well, and also I think you kind of mentioned it because you have to rotate the players, but you also by the end of the group stage have to have at least 9 different players play. Correct?
No. You need to have 9 different players throughout the tournament. So
so you could do the group stage and only have 6 players play?
Yeah, that's
okay.
possible. So you could have like a team A and a team B, and you can like play it every other round. But at some point, if you reach the finals, you would have to send in team 3, like to have 9 members. If you only send in the same 6 members over and over again and win the finals with it, you get disqualified because you didn't have 9 different players play a game.
Okay, so I mean, you do have to have the 9 players play, but it's not just within their group stage. But obviously,
no, it's not within.
Yeah, obviously there is some strategy there for those teams. I know I've got the same thing with some mixed teams. We've got players of different skill levels, so round by round, it's kind of like, okay, who are the good players to send? Who can we send in there? Is there a weak round that we can send in the 3 guys to make quota, basically, to strategize. Yeah. But then also knowing that if you make top cut, if you top cut and you have 3 players that played in week 5, which is the group stage, and then you go to playoffs, those players can't lead off. So do you want to end with those guys or not?
So, for example, 2 teams who have already 2 wins, like Traitors End and Seekers, I can see them resting their good players in the last round. If you have like 3 wins and you are guaranteed into group stage, into a playoff stage, then you can send in like 3 people just to get the 9 players minimum done. Like, yeah, you can lose all 3 games and still make the playoffs and have your like best players ready for round 1 and round 2 for playoffs. So it's some strategy involved, like who to send next. Like, do we have to win this round to make the cut, or don't we have to win the round and can allow other players to play as well? So it's I mean, tournaments are in general really, really fun to play. It's like making contact with your opponents. Most of them are actually pretty cool guys, and you sometimes find really nice friends outside of your lodge. So it's even if you lose, you can have fun with tournaments. I mean, I became friends with LCFR more or less when we played in Lodge Wars 2 or 3 against each other, and it was a horrible game for me. It was like one of the worst showings I had. But afterwards, we had so much fun. We talked so much and became friends, which is really, really cool. Like, a lot of friends outside of my lodge are throughout tournaments.
Yeah, well, it's a good way to mix it up, and I mean, the World Cup mixes it up in a different way, where you're playing with people who are in your represent the same country and come from different lodges at different times.
I
Whereas-
also want to encourage that, like, thinking outside the lodge, it's something I'm still thinking about it, but what I want to host as a normal weekly tournament in the future is a format like definitely not Lodge Wars, where you have to team up with 2 different players who are not part of your community or lodge. So, like a weekend tournament. I think that could be really, really fun.
It could be. I think if you have some mixed teams, kind of force that, get that message out there. Weekly would be tough because I think it would take you more time to get folks.
Yeah, I think it's a 2 or 3 day tournament, something like that.
But you won. I was gonna comment with regards to the roster, the rostering of management of player rotations. Your team captain, how do you feel with that? Does that feel like more of a lodge involvement versus just a team, or do you have your guys who are just like, hey, we're week 1, we're ready to go, like we're the next ones are already in line, or is it more or less like, okay, who do we send? Like what?
We basically have our group set up because when we were setting up the teams, a lot of people wanted the same warlord. Some people wanted Vulcan here, some people wanted Sisters of Silence here. So we had to switch it up depending on what each player felt their strongest warlord was. So essentially, we have teams built on depending on their warlord selection.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, each round you've got 3 players. They have to pick 2 warlords. They have to be from different factions. So there's going to be 6 different warlords, 6 different factions, but depending on who's comfortable playing with what, and then just as in World Cup, we've got Mr. Midnight, who's with Team Germany, and he's on our Trader's End team, and he kind of offered the same advice. Kind of I've heard from a lot of talking with World Cup players, where when you pick your warlords, you try to pick. Maybe you want 1 aggro and 1 control, or 1 mid-range. Try to keep it a little bit of mix and don't all dump into one strategy with 2 different warlords that can be easily, let's say countered, but easily teched against. So it's kind of the same thing, I think, when you've got players who are feeling comfortable with 2 warlords, and then you've got 3 different guys who can kind of between the group kind of come up with which 6 warlords they're playing. So we're week 3, and there are a couple of groups I think that have a bye. And from what I understand, like we all want to play each player. There's 3 players on each round. We want to have everybody play because those points could count for tiebreakers too. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there are like different stages of tiebreakers. Obviously, the first one is matchups 1, like Lodge A faces Lodge B. 1 gets the win. That's like the most rounds 1 is the first tiebreaker, obviously. Then you have the second tiebreaker, who is the win-loss ratio for games. Like if, for example, Team A wins every matchup 2-0, and Team B makes every matchup 2-1, then obviously the win-loss ratio for Team A is better than for Team B, and that would be the tiebreaker. And if those 2 tiebreakers are the same for both teams, then the direct confrontation is the decider on who would get ranked higher.
And who makes the top cut. And then top cut is single elimination, correct?
Yeah, that's single elimination. So, I mean, we will have quite short playoffs. Like we have 3 rounds. It's round 1, then it's semifinals and finals. So if you make it through the first round of playoffs, you are halfway there to guarantee a card back for your team. I mean, there's only one team left at that point that doesn't get the card back. So I think round 1 will be the hardest fought round in the playoffs.
Mm.
Because I mean, it's all about the cardbacks in the end. Like, I know I talked to many participants, and almost all of them told me that like those cardbacks, they want them. They want like cardbacks for their whole lodge to show like we are one of the best lodges around in the game. And I think also every big lodge except for like 2 that are like very often in the top 20 showed up. So
That's good.
there's a lot of pride involved, I would
Well, yeah,
say.
especially with the mixed teams, because I mean, like you were saying, naming some of those lodges, like I know I've seen some of them. I've played against some of them. I couldn't tell you who's always in them or how often or frequent, but I mean, if you've got a good representation of typically the top 20 lodges or most of the lodges that appear in there, I mean, that's a good bulk of really solid players, really active players involved in the game, whether it's event or in ladder. So that's nice to see that they're able to participate, because sometimes with the tournaments, depending on how word gets out, or if people don't hear about it, and I know some people still probably will be like, I didn't hear about that. Well, it's hard, but you can only get the news out so many different ways.
I mean, I have to admit, I'm a bit salty about not getting an in-game announcement. I talked to Everguild and asked about an in-game announcement, so also smaller lodges would get the news, because I know that like the most active players are already on the official Discord, and I know that there are some very active players on the subreddit as well, but still that's like 20% of the community after all who are like reachable through those 2 channels. And there are so many smaller lodges who don't interact with the official Discord or aren't even aware of it. And the subreddit is also like quite small. Like we have 3,500, maybe close to 4,000 subscribers on that channel. So, and also, I mean, both things overlap a lot. So it would have been cool to get an in-game announcement and get more lodges involved. And that's something Everguild told me they would consider. And yeah, they didn't make the announcement when Lodge Wars started. And at this point, it doesn't help because you can't join anymore. So it would be cool for the upcoming Lodge Wars 6, which will be end of spring, I believe. That's what I plan, at least. Would be cool to get an in-game announcement to get more different and newer players involved into the Discord community, which is a great community, I have to say. Like it's super active, and there's a lot of stuff happening. So it's sad that there's no promotion of the community platforms from through in-game notifications.
Yeah, I think some of that. I mean, it's a little frustrating. It's not inconsistent. I know when Everguild sent me the promo codes, they said, well, let us know how you're gonna hand them out, and we can promote that. And I told them, and I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen any announcements, and I don't know if they've done that for the other content creators who are doing promo code giveaways. But then you've got the Volrock stream, which gets promotion. So I don't know.
Just to add to it, like I had a discussion with Belgard. He covered a lot of World Cup games, and he is also quite interesting to do like commentating on games, and he will commentate on Lodge Wars games as well. So check out his YouTube as well as I think Warpix is already confirmed. I don't know if you will commentate on some Lodge Wars game stuff, but Mr. Midnight will probably do, and Jay Thrills as well. Those are all great YouTubers who will showcase some games, I hope up to 15 or 20 every week. That would be really, really cool. And some of those YouTubers haven't been aware that Everguild handed out promo codes. I know that Midnight has some. I know that you have some. Like you already told us at the beginning. I think Warpix has some, but Belgat wasn't even aware that there was promo codes for YouTubers to give out.
Well, to be fair, I mean, they weren't exactly handing them out. I sent them an email. It was like, I knew you guys added this promo code feature back in the game. When do we get promo codes to give out? And then a month later, it took a month, but they finally responded. And they said, oh, right. Well, what do you think about doing this? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get 6 promo codes as well to give out a promo code for the Game of the Week for every, nobody has to send his replays to a YouTuber to showcase them. So all people do it on their own. And I think it's cool to promote the game. It's cool to get the community more involved. So I'm not sure how I will decide, but I think there will be a voting about what is the match of the week. I will say here are 3 or 4 games I pre-select and let the community, I think, randomly week 1 Reddit, week 2 Discord, week 3 probably VK, and I don't know what we will do for the players and stuff like that, but I want to give the community the vote of the Game of the Week so I can give out a promo code to that player. That would be really cool. And so far, I haven't gotten a response either, so I'm hoping for the best. And probably as a YouTuber will borrow me a code for that.
That's all you can do is hope for the best. And I mean, we got the meta report within 3 days, 2.5 days. So they can get that done. They can get that in response. So we'll see. Juan, I was going to ask you, did you play in any of the previous Lodge Wars at all?
I have not. I was not aware that Lodge Wars was a thing until basically this one.
Really?
Really? Wow. Because I mean, you've been around for a while, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, I've been playing this game for about 3 years. I was never really a part of Main Chord. I didn't do anything there. So I just stick to my specific lodge and just hung around there. So I never knew about Lodge Wars. If they had sent me a notification in game, or if they had done this or that, maybe I would have known about it. But this is the first time I heard about Lodge Wars, and I wanted to participate in it.
All right.
To be fair, Juan lives in the event scene, so
Well, yeah,
there's got to be some incentive for it.
You can,
I'm just messing with
you
you.
can
You
be
are
an
the-
event player and be a good player. So
Juan is the most hardcore event player I know. I got to give him that credit. He is insane.
So
Well,
you went from not playing to now you're captain. See, so there you go.
Well, yeah, they voted me to be captain, so now all the responsibility of organizing and setting up matchups, as well as practice matches and teching against, is up to me.
Right.
I think it's a punishment.
It's
You have to do the work
it is
and
to an extent,
the others
'cause
profit
they're-
from it.
Some people don't know what they're doing or what's going on, and they blame me for everything.
right.
And
Like,
mean,
oh,
I mean,
yeah.
to an extent, I guess.
Yeah.
To be fair, I
Well,
blame you for a
it's
lot
just-
of things. And, I'm not even in those lodges. So if something goes wrong in my day, I just blame you, Juan. Not even Legion's related.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that you didn't know about the first Lodge Wars, and that was one thing. Because Lodge Wars 5, there's been a big gap between Lodge Wars 4 and 5 for various reasons. And I know when we were trying to get people in our community, who were interested in it, we've got 6 different lodges, and the Fragile Art is a team, and they're a mixed team with Fragile Art and Merciless. And so they got their teams together, and we've got 4 other lodges, and I had PM'd everybody in Discord, and then I sent out messages in the game lodge chat. drummed up some people, and it just took time to kind of get some bodies on there. But even then, it's like, I mean, is it just a matter of people? I got some responses, people just weren't interested. They rather just play the event or play the game and not have to worry about tournaments. But it could be sometimes people don't have their notifications checked out, and don't check out the messages and kind of miss out. And that's always kind of unfortunate too, especially when there's a lot of fun to be had. Because I think, at least on our side, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for other teams out there who are participating in playing Lodge Wars. But I think this format, having more than just 3 players on a team, having a little bit more change-ups between rounds, has kind of queued up some more activity within players, just as far as like participating and talking with other players who they might have chatted with in our Discord before, whatever, like just shared, but now they're actually practicing, playing practice games, or cheering each other on. There's a little bit more there, which is nice to see. And I don't know if that might be across the board, or that's just kind of a unique experience, but I think that's one of the pros. Whereas I think Lodge Wars 4 and 3 and 2, it was just 3 guys playing. And at the end of the week, it'd be like, hey, we won. And there'd be a couple people, give a high five emote. And that's about it. Because nobody else is really playing or invested, ready to play. And this time around, I think there's a lot more from the Lodge as a whole. So that's cool.
I think that's also quite a big difference compared to the World Cup, which is like, the more players you get involved, the more fun it can get. Because at some point, there's like even less skilled players have a chance to achieve something with their team. Like, you don't have to be the best player, but if you have some good players who help you out, who train you, who help you understand matchups, like all warlords are pre-selected. I get a notification by every captain, like, these are the players for the upcoming round, and these are their warlords, and then I share the information with both captains. Like, everybody knows who he's playing against. And then there are like players who are around like mid-terra, not high terra, but they get like some lessons from like the top guys. Like, I know that Midnight, who is a top 10 player, actually does some training games with players who are like 1,000 rating below him, and tells them, okay, if you have those matchups, you have to think about this. You have to take your deck in a specific way to win, because this matchup is not favorable for you. And that's really, really cool, because people get an understanding of the game. Like, they learn something by having fun. That's pretty cool. And it's a bit different from the World Cup, since like, I know there have been like some qualifiers for most World Cup teams, like the bigger ones. I think for the US team, there were like 20 players who would have liked to be on the team, and in the end, you have 3. So it's a lot of players who are missing out and have no chance to join any team. And with Lodge Wars, with the mixed teams, like, if your main team doesn't want you, there's still a chance to join another team to play in this event. So,
you know what we should have, and I know it's a little. I think we're 3 months past the time here, but I think we need an Olympics. I think we need like an Olympic village, and we need to have like a World Cup with different
we have
events.
An Olympic village. We have the tournament Discord.
Well,
that's our Olympic village.
Yeah, like hey, this week the event is in campaign time clearance, or this week the event is in meme deck building. Like, I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff out there, but like, it would be kind of fun just to have like something where it's not just a tournament, but maybe there's different themes to go with each week, so therefore you add another layer to that. And that might be too specific for some people's interest, but I think that could be kind of interesting.
It is something I consider for Lodge Wars 6 when we will break the amount of players a bit. I don't think that 9 players for every Lodge Wars format is the best choice. So maybe the next Lodge Wars will only have 5 players per team, depending how the feedback will be. So, but I actually agree with you that some theme formats could be fun, while maybe Lodge Wars isn't the right tournament for it. It's a bit more competitive. And I mean, we have a lot of other tournaments offer like different experiences. Like Des has a really cool Nurglings tournament format, what he hosts like every now and then, probably every 2 months. Then actually I should host a subreddit tournament at some point again, probably when Lodge Wars is over. So that could be a good meme or fun tournament. Then when was the last Best Swordsman series?
I think they just did one a couple weeks ago, and they had all the swords, all the when I say swordsmen, characters in the lore who are basically known for being swordsmen, and those were the warlord options, right?
Yeah, whoever had the art of a sword. Because originally they were just going to do the lore one, but then that kind of got messy. So instead it's whatever card visually has a sword in its hand, and then the few that don't, but we know they're swordsmen, those are the swords guy.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a bit confusing, and I don't think the host of the format was very happy about how it played out, because honestly, what you want to see is like, obviously, people like Corswain, you want to see Lucius and stuff like that. Those are like the swordman guys, like Sevatar, and in the end, like the roster got expanded every single day because people were like, yeah, but he is a swordsman as well, and he is, and at some point it got so crowded and was like, it didn't feel like a swordsman tournament anymore. Sorry, Zacharias, to say that, but it's the truth. It hurts. But he is hosting one, I think, next weekend. Again, with more consistent rules, like really the best swordsman by law.
Well, I think the original best swordsman tournament we had was an all Lucius tournament, and then there was an all Karn tournament and an all Garrow. There hasn't been an all Sigismund tournament yet, has there?
I don't think anybody wants to host that.
No one wants to host it. No one wants to play it.
A whole lot of do nothing. I mean, Sigismund's abilities and already sit back and let them bash on you. Now you're just
both guys. Both guys are like, no, you first. No, you.
What is it? Okay, I don't know if you've watched the old Pokemon anime, like season 1. It's when they go spam Harden at each other.
Kakuna versus
Metapod.
Yes, Metapod.
Harden. That's what it is. Because it's just sitting there. I'd watch that. I'd watch players play that match. So lose by draw.
You're aware that players will lose by discarding, right?
Oh yeah, I 100% want to watch people lose by draw.
Yeah, that's what will happen. But I would be all for it. Yeah, maybe I host it. I don't know. It's stupid enough.
It's dumb enough to work.
And that's all we need, really.
That's what we need
I agree.
those kind of things. Come on.
An idea and some stupid people to follow it through.
That's right.
I mean, those special formats are really, really entertaining, and I think those are the more popular tournaments. But we have to mix in a pretty standard format every now and then, because there is at some point a tournament drought, and or like people get tired of tournaments if it's too many special formats. And I at some point had the feeling that there was a small issue that Lodge was pretty much immediately started after the World Cup. Like there was 1 week in between, maybe 2, so that was a bit close to each other. But Lodge Wars was planned a month earlier, and the people couldn't get the World Cup done, so I blame the hosts.
Well, the blame's got to go somewhere. It's going to go to the TOs, TOs.
Don't tell anybody that I helped in that tournament as well.
We'll edit that. We'll make you look good.
Yeah. I try my best.
Well, and with the tournament, with the Lodge Wars format, as it is right now, with the player rotations and the the warlords are not set every week, through the course of the whole tournament. Like typically, World Cup and past Lodge Wars, the team player would make their selection, and those are their warlords that they're running with. But this format allows for players to change up as the players change, and that I think also allows for some degree of flexibility if we end up getting some balance patches added to the game. And I think somebody had mentioned that there may be a patch coming this week.
I pretty much can guarantee that there will be a patch very soon in the next 2 weeks.
Will it be a substantial patch?
I have no idea.
Okay, all right.
I mean, that's one bonus I have. We TOs get some update from Everguild before they patch, so that we can stop tournaments in time and let people, or give people time to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some rumors spreading, and we think it could happen this week, so on Friday or Thursday, but we can't confirm that yet. But within the group stages, we are pretty sure there will be at least a slight remodeling of the game. Yeah.
Well, and with the, whether it's this week or next, that kind of falls within, I think, what they've been doing the last few months. Like the first or second week, we get a decent patch. I think the last couple, we've kind of taken a look at some old legions. And last week's episode, when we were talking about the Night Lords, we did keep our fingers crossed that maybe October could see some reworking for that legion, but that's just speculation. There's no data to support that. There's more data really to support some cards at the top getting tweaked. Maybe I guess the meta report was out today.
I don't know if you guys talked about that meta report.
We did not, and this is actually
those numbers upset me so much.
Yeah, I typically don't really pay too much attention to the meta report, but I feel like the meta report this time around was pretty telling.
I mean, I haven't read it, but I believe that Lucretia had a pick rate of 130% of all games. I believe it's like it's so crazy. When I led out last month, it was like with my Dias, Kemba Dias. I mean, he's picked pretty often as well. But the most common matchup have been Isaac Khan or Lucretia. Like, those three warlords should skyrocket in the meta report without looking at it.
Without looking at it, you got one of those right. Karn is the top at 14%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was obvious. But Lucretia is not.
I don't remember her position. I just remember Vulcan's being second at 10%, which means almost a quarter of all matches.
Yeah, I think Lucretia's like 3 or 4th. She's in the top 5.
Oh yeah, she's in top 5, but it went 14%, 10%, and then I think 5% pick rate. But what upset me the most was looking at it and being, a quarter of matches you'll play is either Karn or Vulcan. The opposite end of the spectrum of either you win really fast or you win really slow.
Yeah, I agree. But most of those warlords are super consistent, and I mean, Khan is hard to deal with. He has, like, at least they fixed Korn's favor a bit. But
the problem is they didn't fix Korn's favor for Karn. If anything, it was a buff for him, because now on 5 energy instead of 6 dealing 12, he's dealing 10 for 5.
Yeah, that's true.
That just makes the games even faster.
Yeah.
Lucretia, by the way, is 4th place with a 4.9 youth rate and a 59% win rate.
And Kambadias?
Kambadias is 5th with a 53% win rate and a 4.6% pick rate.
Yeah, that's something I expected, yeah.
Yep, and then Vulcan and Karn both have a 57% and then a usage rate of double digits.
Yeah, it was more telling, I think, than most of the meta reports.
Now here's the part that's surprising me. Amon has a 60% pick rate, and it's a custody.
To be fair, about 5 out of the top 10 players this season were playing either Amon one shot or Amon mid. Actually, only one player was playing Amon mid range, and that was our War Master this season, Troyan, which we have to give a shout out to him for pioneering the Amon meta.
I didn't expect to see Amon at a 60% win rate going into the season, but it is pretty impressive to see.
And is that just also taking advantage of Korn's favor, just in a different way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Corn's Favor, Coburnus, they both essentially do the same thing. It's just, it's 2 pieces to a puzzle now instead of only 1 out of 30.
Right. Yeah.
What really is telling that there are 4 cards who are really, really strong, and it's those cards are pretty much like restricted in every tournament at the moment. Kazdrak, who is insanely good. Crucible Choice has been way too good for a while now. Corn's Favor is absolutely annoying, and Forbidden Protocols is... I mean, I understand the concept of Forbidden Protocols, but for some factions, it's crazy good. I mean, those speeders, I can guarantee you it's always Bloodthirst on them. I like, from a personal feeling,
Gotta
like
be rigged.
you see your opponent play it, and you know, okay, it's Bloodthirst and something else.
Survivor, Ward, I mean,
yeah,
it's Bloodthirst. It's Bloodthirst +2/+2 and Corn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, often that. And you are like, yeah, lethal range is it's 6 energy on Khan with his speeders, and it's like, yeah, 14 or more damage. And it's like, that's crazy. That's too good for 6 energy.
It's just the consistency of the Karn, where he'll have a 2-drop, then the Ron Veterans on 3, Wraith on 4, Corn's Favor for 5, and then for 6 he's got Forbidden and Speeders. That's what makes Karn so relevant this meta. It's because they nerfed, supposedly, Corn's Favor from 6 to 5, he has that opening now where at 5 energy he's just going to drop it and hit you for 10. And you can't do anything about it, because if you punch back into him, he still has the +3 attack.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, he has 2 good 5 energy cards at the moment. Like, I see Argus Brond as well, and he can dish out some really crucial lethals as well.
Or even just speeders with sweep in advance.
Yeah, it's a bit pick your poison.
Well, and that's one thing I mentioned, because with tournaments you can restrict or you can ban. You know, and World Cup has got 3 banned cards: Corn's Favor, Crucial Choice, and I always forget the third one. I know I don't use it. What was it?
Forbidden Protocols.
Forbidden Protocols. We were just talking
the
about
one we were complaining about. Yeah.
I mean, in the end, it feels a bit like targeting Khan, which shouldn't be like what I want to do, but those cards are like really, really annoying in most matchups, and I probably will give the captains a vote to ban Kazdrak as well if it's needed. I really hope for the next patch to see what they will do, how they adjust the game, because actually I don't think the game is in a bad state. It's actually quite fun to play. There are a lot of warlords who are actually viable to make High Terror, and okay, if you go for top 10, then obviously it comes down to more or less 5-6 warlords. But I have seen I think Spiral played a lot of knights and made top 3, I believe. I think
Spiral was very he played many different warlords that season, from Karn to Lucretia to Knights. Basically every time I fought him, he was playing a different warlord.
Honestly, I have faced him, I think, 2 or 3 times, and was always his fucking knight, and it was so annoying.
I can feel the contempt.
Yeah, I mean, we have been lodge mates at that point. No, I dropped out of traders.
Yeah, because you're the tournament organizer lodge now. So.
Yeah, so I could face him, and I run the TO card back. I think I'm the only person in the top 200 or above 4K who ran the TO card back. So everybody who faced me knew who he was facing, and Spiral really, really got lucky and won every single time. It was like, afterwards a short PM, I'm sorry, and it was like, yeah, sure, man. I mean, grab your ladder rank, and it's okay. I'm not salty at all. Like, facing this fucking knight. But I had
slowly sharpening a knife.
Right.
I mean, knights are supposed to be dead. No, the nerfs, they don't draw a card anymore. Come on, man, knights are bad.
They're
let's
not
be real
bad.
Here. They're in a better place. They're in a better place.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. They're still going to rub people raw in the same way that even after 1,000 Suns took an arrow to the knee for a while when I say narrow to them, I don't mean the most recent patch to them. I mean the one that they had for a long time. But the second energy usage is still a thing that you have to deal with. And Knights, unlike the Thousand Suns, still have generators that they can consistently generate, the plasma right out the gate, whereas now the Thousand Suns have got to rely on their troops more or less to get that stuff. So,
and honestly, I'm not sure how the Knight chassis is named. That starts with 3 energy. It's really, really good. You can build a neutral troop deck around it and still have like your weapons to remove stuff off the board with your secondary energy. So it's not bad. I've seen it working.
I have faced one of those in Low-Terra just the other day.
Really?
It hurt.
Like this season?
This season. Well, yeah, last
it's
season.
It's not like Knights are bad or anything. It's we're in the seasons of Karn and one-shot builds.
Right.
It's not fast enough.
Yeah.
I ran the Mechanicus Infantry Knight deck, and it actually defeated me with lucky Khorne's favor on every troop that needed it, because it ran Death of Innocence, or Nurgle on the ones that needed it. I was swamped in seconds. It was scary. I don't want to talk about it.
It was running Death of Innocence? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad I died by it, but I was playing Sanguinius, Feast or Famine, so. And boy,
I've actually seen a quite good Sanguinius deck. Greyfox showed me, and I was like, yeah, this works. And he was like, yeah, that works. Try it out, and it actually works.
There's some good Sanguinius decks.
I mean, still Raldoron is more or less the top blood pick, but I have seen Sanguinius working to a degree, and I think, and you can reach high terror with it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty consistent. It's probably not the best deck around, but it's working.
Forgetting his actual in-game name, but he calls himself Sanguinius, the guy who leads my lodges, essentially. He had a really good...
It's a lot of Blood Angels.
He has a really good Sanguinius deck I've been using for a bit. That Zacharias passed over to me from him.
I probably should ask him about it and snatch it.
Oh, it's from like 4 seasons ago, but it was after Sisters of Silence dropped, so it hasn't changed. Like, I haven't adjusted it much.
So primarily because I didn't probably get much it's the same that Greyfox. I think Greyfox got it as well, so probably Greyfox is an updated version of it. So.
And from the MC boys, Quan, you may be able to back this up. I heard one of your guys had like a 90% win rate Sanguinius deck that he accidentally destroyed and can't remember what was in it.
Oh no!
Yeah, Spellbreaker. He has like I believe 400 games played, and he only lost maybe 3 or 4. Or okay, that's an exaggeration. Like 100 games played, and he's only lost 3 or 4. But he doesn't know where the fucking deck is. He deleted it, and it's gone.
Oh.
Yeah, Our good Hungarian friend Doles told me that the other day, and I was like, oh man, poor buddy.
I mean, this is a good time for me just to plug the importance of deck slots. Ladies and gentlemen.
You enter a tournament, you put 100% of your deck slots on the line. Winner gets double what he has, loser gets stuck with 1 deck slot. And that's what we do.
If any content creator has a promo code for additional deck slots, Scuffy will waste 12 hours a day to win those codes.
To do whatever is wanted. You need me
He won't need 12 hours a day. He'll just fly to their house.
I will fly there. I will bust down the door. I'll be that meme where there's just like, the Juggernaut knocking the door down, like, give me those slots. Slots and
Without
bots.
context, that's horrifying. If a man kicks down your door and yells, give me your slots.
It's not about the money.
No, it's about the slots. You're sleeping. It's quiet. It's dark. You're having a dream. No, it's not a dream. It's real.
Honestly, what I did in the last time is like I have a Word document where I have the deck codes saved, so I can just delete some decks and like create them instantly via the deck codes, and so I have more deck slots.
We have real German ingenuity over here.
That's high efficiency right there. Well, we need 2 more rows because the rate we're going, I believe we have about 2 events and we hit a raid event. And typically in a raid events, we get 2 to 3 neutral warlords added. So that's coming, and we don't have enough for the warlords that are in the game now. And then following that should be early November, maybe late November, is the expansion that will be coming. I don't know what they're going to call it, but they're going back and revisiting old legions and giving us fifth warlords, and it'll be some interesting stuff. So there'll be more. I mean, come on, slots. We need slots. And I also mentioned in the Discord, we need new bot warlords. We need new bot warlords too. So slots and bots and bots and slots. Bots and slots and slots and bots. Let's do it.
I mean, we haven't gotten any new bots for what, the past 2 expansions? I don't think I've ever seen a Course Wayne bot.
No.
Or a Luther bot. I mean, it'd be pretty interesting.
I heard something great today from Guard Buddy, and I do agree. In High Terra or top 50, all Primarch bots should be in Reckoning form. Let's see what happens.
I don't know about
Let's
that.
See what happens.
Maybe.
Let's see what happens.
I mean,
yeah, but there hasn't been a night bot, or any of the the Agents of Sigilate bots, Sisters. I mean, there's new stuff there to add. You could have a new. I think there's a Lion bot already, but Corswain, yeah, like you said, like there's just stuff that's like, come on, like mix it up, or give us some bots of warlords that we haven't ever seen bots for.
I'm trying to think of some bots.
I also would really like it if they could do something like the Crucible Warlords, like in a game mode, like that they
You're right. Toss them into High Terra, see what happens.
I mean, we've been promised a new game mode for what, 2 years now?
Oh, yeah,
I'm still waiting just a wee bit.
If you still believe in the second game mode, you're just not good.
First mistake. I've seen you been pushing that hard lately.
That's my new thing. Listen,
you're not good at the game.
That's right. Every time I say it, like in my head, I say it like Jeff Foxworthy. It's like you might be a redneck, which I hate that bit. I mean, it's not that I hate the redneck bit. Like, it was funny for like a month, and now it's just not funny like 10 years later. But I say it like that because I feel like the comedic delivery there is there. Like if you think chiming in on the balance channel is gonna change the cards that you don't like, you're just not good at the game. And you have to say it with an accent like that.
And they will. They don't care. They think they can change the world. They can't. We all got to go through hell.
If you constantly ping Horus Legions on your feedback posts, you're just not good at the game.
To be fair, I do respect the people who go, fuck it, I'm going to ping Horus Heresy Legions and see if this changes anything. It won't. No. But you got the stones to do so.
We're all guilty of that. I've done it. I've done it when I've asked for more deck slots. I will not deny it. That's the whole point, is just making fun of that stuff. Like, ultimately, anything you do, you're just not good at the game. Like, let's just be honest. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
I think
playing the game, you're not
I understand now why VTOs don't get responses when we post in our secret channel and ping the Horus Legions account, because it gets spammed by guys like you.
Yeah.
So
hey.
Well, I mean, they can mute every other channel except for your secret private one.
Fuck it. I'm doubling down. Every day I'm going to give a daily wake-up call to the Horus Heresy Legions and a ping.
If I react to you, give me a ping so I can use the time and swap right in and ask.
Day number 1 of pinging Horus Heresy Legions till they respond.
I'm going to just message them good morning cutie pies and then not respond to anyone who asks me what the fuck I just did.
If you lose to Chapter Master Valrak on his stream,
to be fair, that is true.
At the game.
Did you lose to him? No. You didn't, right?
I think someone lost to him.
I didn't play him.
Yeah, it's like a random guy with like 1,000 rating.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've watched like the second part of the stream.
I was at
and
work
I
on the stream.
just joined when Mr. Midnight played him, and it was like utterly disgrace how hard Valdrak got stormed. Like,
some people were defending
the guy
Valrak.
right after freaking Mr. Midnight just kept pulling Seals of Sisterhood too, so he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to feel bad for Valrak, but I can't.
No, honestly, I think
who is Evergill?
So bad.
I mean, honestly, that shouldn't happen. Like, I had a chat with Everguild in the morning, like 9 hours before the stream started, and we talked about they actually are looking forward to grow the games. Like, they want to get involved more into like Twitch and YouTube and want to make the game more visible. And I think that's a good decision.
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
But-
EG, if you're listening, pay me. I'll drop to Ishvan 5, and I'll play only Canis, and we'll see what happens. I'll stream it.
I mean, honestly, there are some formats you could have used to promote the game better. Like Valdrak obviously had no fucking clue what he was doing. Like he got a solid deck created by them probably, and what is he?
I wouldn't
Like,
say it was a solid deck created.
what
But I'm
he
looking
calls?
at the cards that he had. I think he got the full Imperial Fist.
They
faction.
gave him the
He got
collection,
every
but not a
Imperial
deck.
he-
Fist
yeah,
card,
and then he
but
just
not
put
much else.
and then he just put cards in the deck, and I don't think because he had some stuff in there. It's like, man, your deck is it's not good. Like it's
And
not
I want
tuned.
to point out,
I mean,
people
he
told
is
him
on Carls or something like that, and it's good enough for Carls.
Right,
It's, it's working there. So, but if you get challenged by a guy who is like 3 times your rating, and your deck is not optimized, what
You're going
what
to
do
die.
you expect? Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't have even
single-
accepted them, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that was a bad idea. Like, why didn't they give him a co-host, like a player with experience? I mean, there are other streamers. Like, they could have asked Scuffs, they could have asked Varpix, they could have asked Midnight. I mean, whatever. There are like multiple guys who like could have coached him. Like, okay, we are playing Legions. You are new to the game. You have some reach, and we tell you a bit about the game. We construct deck together, and then we play, and we can tell you what your opponent does.
Well, I
So,
don't want to throw shade on Everguild. It's not
No,
necessarily.
I'm going to for you here in a second.
But
Terse, did you see the entire Valrak stream, or at least the beginning?
No, well, I was notified by Robert's Moon and by Midnight. They kept me updated. I was on a train ride at the time.
Then
And I'm aware about the Who is Ever Guild incident.
no, the incident. I'm not referencing that because that was bad. But it's more so that I don't think Everguild properly set up the idea that they wanted a sponsored Legion stream, because it turned out to be he just did one of his normal Warhammer
Space Marine,
streams,
yeah.
where he would just talk about Warhammer stuff, show some Warhammer stuff, and then he remembered that he had to do a card game stream, and then just tossed it in there at the end.
Yeah.
So it wasn't handled right by either party, and it just turned out bad.
I agree. And they could have set him up better, and I think there was a communication issue, or maybe Waldrock is just not giving a fuck. I mean,
It looked like it.
Maybe he got his dollars into the bank, and he was like, yeah, whatever. Got my money, who cares? I don't know. I don't know him personally. I have never watched his channel before, I have to admit, so I don't know how his other streams look like. But from what I saw in the second half of his stream, it was like he wasn't prepared for the whole promo thing he should have done.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this in last week, and I'm not going to go down like repeat what I said, but you mentioned, I mean, he could have worked with another content creator, and when the Imperial Fist faction was going to be released, that was something that Everguild, I think, approached him about, was working with me and doing like a co-play thing or something. I'm looking for the email now. I don't know if I've got that saved for my spoiler requests, because I was looking forward to doing something like that and getting out there and for the platform. I think if I remember correctly, the response was he kind of opted to just not do that. So
Yeah, I'm not surprised. If he was smart, he would at least be in the main card.
Well,
that would help tremendously.
whether or not he actually wants to play the game and actually likes the game is a different thing, because sometimes you're a tabletop
Money's
player,
money.
sometimes you're a card player, and sometimes money's money.
Yep.
But if you're going to promote a product, you should promote it.
I agree. And I think like it was a bad way how it was handled in general. Like I don't think it was a good positive promotion, and I don't know who is to fault for it. Like it could have been a classic misunderstanding.
Well, when in doubt, blame Juan. He's a team captain.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, not even, you can just blame Juan in general. It's so easy.
Yeah, but I mean,
You would
Normally
think about how
we also
easy
get
your life
blamed.
will be.
Yep, I can't blame Juan because he blames me most likely because I'm a TO. So you blame him, he blames me, and I blame Everguild.
All right, see,
And then
everything
Everguild
else-
blames Juan.
Vicious cycle.
Yeah, right. Probably.
And you know what? It all bounces back, and it's perfect.
Yeah, it's a never-ending circle.
It's the circle of life.
The circle of hating
It,
Juan.
it moves us all. You can't see it, but I'm staying on top of a cliff right now, overlooking the Pride Lands, and I'm holding up Juan.
I figured you were gonna say something on those lines.
I honestly would like to talk a bit about campaigns. What do you guys think about them? I mean, the first one with the Imperial Fist was quite fun, and the one with the Thousand Sons was decent, I would say. And okay, this one is a bit meh, I have to admit. But in general, I really, really like the campaigns.
I love the concept. It's so
Yeah.
good. Can they be better ones? Yes, but the concept's great.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, the campaigns have been so and so. Some have been more fun, some have been less fun. But I think giving out 2 faction crates and especially the card backs, they are amazing.
And a
Very-
guaranteed rare warlord is nice.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for us, the faction crates are more or less useless. It's
Hey,
Like
you get
400
like
gems.
20 gems.
no, you get more. It's like 3 doubles for 5, and most times it doubles for 20. And
Now
then
I need to pull out the image of my lodge leader, Lord Adornable himself, Dornstash, getting 4 Bane of Demons and then a Meros.
really,
Yep, every slot that wasn't the Meros, the guaranteed rare warlord, was a Bane of Demons.
The game was trying to tell him something.
To be the Bane of Demons.
Well, as
It
far as
was
the
a-
campaigns go, yeah, I mean, I think I like the idea. It's definitely more new player aimed, and I think that's fine. I have no problem with that. Like, I do enjoy that they finally it took them 3 years to get to this point where they finally added something beyond, the Loken introduction to the game, and now players can kind of jump in, play through the game, get a rare warlord, get some cards for a faction that they might be interested in, have not only an introduction to that faction maybe, but also kind of an introduction to drafting. Because even though you don't get rerolls, they have the option to kind of pick the three packs, and there's some challenge there to some degree. It's less rewarding for players who've got everything. The card back is nice. If you're aiming to get every single card back, there's a card back to get every 3 weeks. So I'm all for it, and I don't, like I said, like it's more for new players, and I think there's nothing wrong with that because the game is so big now. The amount of expansions we have, especially, like I said, in a month's time or so, if we're adding another expansion into that mix, like any player who is interested in wanting to play this game, and if Everguild is interested in expanding their presence and getting more attention to the game, then you've got to make it more accessible to somebody who's stepping in, because otherwise they're going to come in, they're going to play, and then they're going to look at everything that they don't have and see how hard it is to get stuff, because we're not getting crates or gold for achievements. I think I don't even know if the, gosh, now that I think about it, this is the first time I thought about it, the original achievements, when the game had just 10, you actually got crates for. But now you don't, I don't think. Or do you?
no.
I hope you still do.
I hope you
'cause if
still
they
do
did
too.
it,
Because that
that's a
was
shot to the knee.
big shot, because as a new player, that was like, okay, cool, I can sign up to the newsletter. Okay, that's 100 gold or a free crate, or I can play 100 games and I get, like, you take everything you can get. So hopefully they still have that, but they don't get it for any other achievements. So anything that they can get, whether it's a referral crate or the promo code, self-plug again, contest, whatever it is, get what you can get, play tournaments, get gold. Like, so if the campaign doesn't require you to be a member of a lodge or a high scoring lodge, you can just play and play it over and over and over and over again without having to spend tickets until you win what you want to win. Good for you. good for the game. That's good for a new player to hopefully keep invested. And I'd like to see them do a couple more things like that. But I think they'll need to.
Yeah, I think you addressed a good point. Like, the game is so big. We have 120 warlords, I believe, more or less.
Oh shit!
And yeah, it's crazy. I mean, every faction has 4, and some factions have even more warlords. Like, obviously, Chaos, and Chaos has like 7 different warlords, I believe. It's crazy. You can't collect them as a new player. Like, it's incredibly hard if you don't like do amazing event runs. I mean, most of the players who have a full collection got them through more or less events, because they are huge for new players to gain cards, and the drop rates are incredibly good. I have to admit. I've gotten Primax out of 2 win crates, and I have like gotten. I mean, it's totally random. At some point, I got confirmed by Everguild what the drop rates are, but in real life, they don't actually match. I mean, in theory, every 12 win crate should have a 10% chance to contain a legendary, and so you can get up to I believe 3 legendaries in a 12 win crate, because there's also the cosmetic slots can contain legendaries with 10% chance. So it's really, really good drop rates. And I think for the blue crates, which are like 0 to 4 wins, or with 0 to 5 wins,
I think 0 to 4. I think 5 starts kicking like green.
Yeah, and 8 is 8 or 9 is red, right?
I think 8 is red, and then red. 11 peaks at red.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
and
Juan would know.
You see, my problem.
No,
with
Juan
this
only does
is,
12, so he doesn't know.
You're right.
My problem with this is, sure, I get a couple legendaries out of 12 wins, and I get my guaranteed tickets back, but I find I get better rewards from 10 wins, or maybe 8.
Yeah.
Because almost all my Primarchs that I've pulled from event runs have not been from 12
Then
win
again,
runs.
that could just be confirmation bias.
No, it's true. I can guarantee you, because I got the most Primarchs out of 7 crate wins, like the green ones. Those.
I see that. That's what I mean by confirmation. That's what I mean by confirmation bias. Yeah, it's a term for what. I don't know how to explain it in English, and I'm not about to go speak butchered French to you all. So
when another person has the same experience as you, confirming that your experiences are the same, but that doesn't necessarily mean that is exactly the case.
Yeah, that's part of it. But I'm aware. It's mainly just the belief of, well, it happens when I do it. Because I know a lot of people say stuff about RNG in that regard. That's probably how it works. We don't know until Everguild just drops the drop table on us one day, like 100% of it. And to be honest, it probably should.
Well, I got the drop table, like the percentage for each card, how the chances are for legendaries. Like for every crate, I have it somewhere. I asked.
Would you be able to share these with us?
If I find it, yes. Yeah. If I find it, I have a mail confirming like the drop rates for every single crate, percentage, and how the crate is structured. I have it somewhere. I can't promise to find it in the next 4 weeks, because it's
next 4 weeks.
I mean, it's probably buried in.
We will meet in 2 fortnights, and I shall show you the drop table.
Yeah, I have it. I just have to look it up. It's like in.
It's all good.
You don't know, man. Just go to a different school.
But like honestly, it's event crates are amazing.
Oh, 100%.
That's something
for new players listening. Even if you think you suck at events, you probably do. Just play them anyways.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And what I also can advise you, watch some YouTubers. I mean, every single more known YouTuber has an event guide for every single event, more or less. Like they play a 10-ticket run, or maybe 10-ticket runs.
Step up your game, Scuff. You're being called out.
I think you have some event runs, right, Scuff?
We need one for
Scuff?
every new event.
Okay, Scuff is offline now. He's silent.
I am silent. I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Is-
Yeah. No, my biggest complaint with the events is the gold rewards at 12 wins is the same gold rewards at 3 wins. And if you
No.
yeah, it is.
No.
You can
no,
get
no, no, no.
you can get 60
You can get
gold.
up to 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, for gold, but not for 3 wins. 3 wins is below 60. It's
I've
often
gotten
35. It's often 35.
I've gotten 60 on 3, and that's where I'm sticking to it. It doesn't. You're more likely to get 40, but you can get 60. And
Yeah,
Can
that's
you?
true.
All I know is that I get gems every
I
fucking
just
time,
think
and
that
it breaks my heart.
the 12 win crates should have a higher ceiling of not 60. It should be like 80, and I'd be fine with
Do you
that.
remember the good old times where there have
Oh,
been
yeah.
over 100 gold in a 12 win crate?
I remember that
Oh
you
god, that'd be nice.
you would play a 12
I remember
wins.
the video where Scuff was like talking about it, and then he
Yeah.
just goes to the event crates. He starts opening some, and wait, these are different.
Yes.
These are new.
It's like-
it was right after the Ultramarines update.
It's
and
like,
I was
wait a
just-
minute, this is not right. Like, what's going on? Yeah, no, they used to do, well, way back, the first wins when you did a 12 win run. If you got gold, you got 12 gold, then you got 12 red, then you got 12 green, then you got 12 blue.
Yeah, those
And
were
then they
amazing.
scaled it back, and then they're like, okay, you know what? You just get 12 of wherever you stopped at. But even then, you could do a 12 win run, and basically, one run would accumulate you not 500 gold, but typically like 2,000 gold, depending on what you got, not plus
Also-
gems. Yeah,
Also, the rewards have been better in the past.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when the Raven Guard event was released, I did pretty well, and I think I made 14, 12 win runs in like 15 runs total, and I got like about 22 times Corex out of the crates. It was like every second one I had, or like every 5th crate I drew Corex, and it was like, stop it already, I need Ravenclaws at some point. Because those drop rates have been insane.
they were
Like
good.
previous-
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, the pool was smaller too, so you were more likely to get good stuff. Now when they say you're guaranteed to get a card from the new faction, the rarity of that card typically in that slot in the crate like caps at rare. Like, you might get an epic, you might get a legendary, but it's like, it feels like it's a 1% chance when it's in the weakest slot. Like, I've had in 12 win crates, which are supposed to have all like epics and up. Like, I've had that guaranteed new faction card be a rare every single time. And it just burns me sometimes. Like, come on, guys. Like, that's just there's a lot of effort that goes into 12 wins. Like, sometimes it's easy, but sometimes it's not. And to do that time after time after time and consistently get rares and commons when you should be getting something better, it's just kind of like, come on.
Honestly, what I don't like in events is the gem rerolls. It favors
Well, yeah.
more experienced players a lot. I mean, every second run I do is 12 wins, more or less. I don't burn tickets in an event, after all. I mean, for Huan, it's probably the same. I think if you start an event, you end up with the same amount of tickets after the event.
One goes
because-
into an event, he's like, listen, I'm doing this run. My goal is to spend 6,000 gems and make 6,000 gems back.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I remember the one Warpic stream where he rerolled, I think, 60k gems.
Oh, yeah, I
Just
saw
for-
that.
And it was like, yeah, it doesn't matter for us. Like, if you have above 100k gems, it's like, fuck it. You can reroll as much as
that,
you want.
and for people with full collections like myself,
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna
What
say,
else
if
am I
you
gonna
have that
spend
gem,
gems
you get a full
on?
collection.
Yeah. That's gotta hurt though, like as a new player, like if you're like you can barely scrap together like 500 gems to pick up like an epic in shop or a rare in shop, and then you watch a player just like spend 70,000. You're like, what? Give.
I mean, I would pay 150,000 gems for the Night Chassis right now. If ever you'll put it in the shop and say it's 150,000 gems, I would buy it twice. Just to get the 400 gems back and waste my gems. I don't care about gems. I have more than enough, and I know there are players with above 500k gems. It's like, yeah, how do you like? They will, if they want 12 wins, they can build more or less a perfect deck. Like there are so many crates who are above average, then they are like the insane good options to choose, and you can reroll till you get like good or insanely good options, and you can if you have like 3 mediocre options, you just reroll and you reroll again and again and again, and like at 6,400 gems you're like, yeah, this might be okay, but wait, fuck it, I just reroll it again, I don't mind. Like how for newer players, they have to pick what they get offered, and that's a bad concept. I like the old format with the pre-constructed decks. I think it was fine because you also knew to a degree what your opponent was running you. If you had a good lodge or have been very active on the Discord, people identified the good deck choices pretty early, and you had pretty clear win conditions. Like you knew, like if there was a Mortarian deck, that there was like exactly 1 copy of Death Shroud or stuff like that. And now there are decks who have like 7 Goldstone Hunters, which is, yeah, okay, whatever. Or like picking 3 times Crucible Choice or stuff like that. It's really crazy. You don't know what you can face in a deck. That's a problem.
It leads to a level of unpredictability, and in a game like this, unpredictability is why cards like Corn's Favor and such, or not Corn's Favor, but Forbidden Protocols and Crucial Choice are banned in tournaments. Because it leads to just unfun wins, or like things that you don't feel your opponent deserved per se. Well, it makes you feel cheated.
Yeah, it's a negative play experience because it's not something that your opponent did right. It's not something that you did wrong. They just high rolled it, or you
can't really build around it either.
Yeah,
like you could run Edict, I guess, arguably, but when I'm fighting a faction, I'm not expecting them to pull out legendaries they shouldn't have. Like Sharakin should not have Mercy and Forgiveness right now. Why is this happening?
Yep.
Yeah.
At least with Kai, I can delete Kai, and if I don't, I go, I let it sit there, and it. No, Crucial Choice is a problem.
The card pool Kai generates is worse than Crucible.
Oh yeah, right? It's commons, rares, epics. That's fine because I don't have to bank on a guaranteed legendary. This I do, and they're very good legendaries. 9 times out of 10.
I mean,
every now and then you'll get the Vironi Book of Magnus and Port Ma, but even then, that's just the fact that it's so variety as well. It's just bad.
That's bad. But can I hit you with a House Virani, Hell Rider, and what was the last one? It was pre buff Horned Raiment.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you can have bad draws, but I mean, with 3 cards and
you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, most of the legendaries are really, really good, and to draw 3 bad ones, it's really unlucky. And
at that point, you deserve it, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, honestly, the chances of getting something useful are way higher than like getting 3 times crap.
All right, yeah. We kind of like made the loop here from Lodge Wars to events to drafts,
campaign, event.
Yeah, which is fine. But we're wrapping into the hour and a half mark.
I'm sorry, everyone, for showing up late.
You made it in. You made it here eventually.
I popped in.
Eventually,
the last set. It was session 1 of a new campaign, and I underestimated the party's intelligence. So a bunch of goblins almost total party killed.
Oof! If there's going to be a TPK, that's when it's going to happen.
Wasn't even that many goblins. There was like 8 goblins.
That's all.
How big is the party?
It was 3 party members of 8, but the goblins were separated without. But the party just decided to charge in and lead some through different rooms into one big room. I went, are you sure about this, guys? And they just triggered like every encounter in one room.
So that feels like a video game mentality where like, well, yeah, they'll just not follow us. No, it doesn't work like that. Like you're just every encounter's coming. Baby. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
just roll.
And then they triggered the Bugbear, who was their leader. So it went it was not good for them. I had a blast watching this happen as the party members were like, maybe I will try to cast a spell over my teammate and pray I don't hit him in the back.
Good stuff. Well, when you're not playing Legions, what else do you do? Terse.
What else do I do? Like play or like real life?
Anything.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, whether games you're playing, whatever you're doing.
Maintain horses.
Yeah.
I mean, if I don't play Heresy Legions, I tend to play some Blood Bowl. Like we have a cup on Strain's server, and it's actually quite entertaining. And well, I sometimes play Total War Warhammer, which is a great game. But that's more or less it. Like, I waste a lot of time on dogs and horses. Like, they are very time consuming.
Yeah, how's the horse going from yesterday?
Oh, it's fine now. It still has a cut over the eye, but it's okay now. So it won't be blind. that's at least something. Yeah, it's animals. Animals are. If you don't look at them, something happens at some point. It's always.
Gotta watch them at all times.
That's fair, and it's always on the most inopportune times. Like my dog has been sick. I think the last 3 times he's been sick, it's either been on a holiday, or like in the middle of the night on a weekend when the vet's office is closed, and it's like now I gotta drive an hour and a half to the emergency vet. But there's no choice. Like that's just what you gotta do. So.
For me, it's every time I look away, my dog gets fucking porcupined. I swear, he finds them. I don't know where they are, but I'll be chilling with the dog. I'll turn around, I'll turn back. Dog gone. I'll turn around, turn back. He's walking at me with a face full of quills.
Thankfully, I don't have that experience, but I've had family who live in Michigan, and they kind of have the same thing every now and then. They've had dogs with the muzzles full of the porcupine quills, and I can't imagine what that could be like. Because you either got to get them out or take them to the vet to get them out, right?
I can tell you how much it costs if you take them to the vet.
Oh, I mean, vet, like, they rip off your money. It's insane.
To be honest, it's a pet, so I have to spend the money. I'm not going to go no, but it hurts so much to drop the money on it.
Yeah, you can't. You have to do it. I know.
Yeah,
it's like okay, and the vets know it as well. Like,
yeah, the vets know, and vets are nice people. They will work something out if you can't pay it all right away because they don't want to watch a dog or pet suffer. But holy shit. And you can try to pull them out yourself. But 9 times out of 10, if your dog's a big enough dog, that fucker will have tried to bite the porcupine. Which means you ain't getting all those quills out.
Yeah. I mean, in Germany, we have like a really good insurance for like anything but for animals. Like, if I break my leg, I go to the hospital, it's fine.
Yep.
They fix it, I pay $0 for it.
Yeah, I pay, yep.
Oh, listen to this international flex. Holy cow.
Yeah, but if my dog gets hurt, it's like, yeah, open your pockets and show me the money. And I'm like, yeah, nice. Awesome.
I got pretty lucky with my quills. My quills only cost me $600 out of pocket, but it still hurt like hell to spend.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
It could have been worse. It was all focused on the face. He didn't fight a porcupine. He only got one fight. Those will mess animals up.
To end, what I'm else doing is like, if COVID is not happening, I sometimes play tabletop. I mean, I'm actually a huge fan of the Horus Heresy Legions tabletop, and I own a pretty big Night Lords army. And normally, I actually want to play them again, but with COVID, it's not happening. We had local leagues and stuff like that, and they all died when COVID started. So that's a bit sad.
Yeah,
but, yeah, that's more or less what I do.
All right. Well, how about you, Juan?
When I'm not playing Horus Heresy Legions, I'm usually studying because I'm a college kid. I'm working for biology with emphasis in pre-med. I'm a junior this year. And right now, classes are really kicking my butt. So I have to take a lot of time just when I'm not playing Horus Heresy to just study, really. That's all I'm able to do.
That's it, studying and cramming and going to class in between. I only vaguely miss the college years. They're good times, but there's a lot of work involved that I don't miss.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we've talked about Lodge Wars 5, which is the current tournament series ongoing. But Terse, is there anything that you would like to plug upcoming?
Upcoming, oh god. There are like a lot of different weeklies planned, and there will be a midweek tournament in the future. Like Doles will be hosting a midweek tournament, which allows people who are normally not able to play on the weekend to participate in the tournament. So we are looking forward to it, and we hope to make it a series, but I think for now it will be a one-time event. Then there should be a subreddit tournament in the near future. That's something Dawn, Stash, and I have to figure out. And else, I don't think we have anything really big planned this year. Well, we have an amazing tournament, obviously, planned this year. It's the Moderators versus Tournament Organizers tournament, which you will be casting, if I'm correct, with Varpix and Mr. Midnight.
That's the plan. I think we'll be commentating on those matches.
Yeah, we will live stream them, and we will showcase factions. So every single participant has a faction he has to play, and those games will be streamed, and I think it will go horrible for the mods because we TOs are the superior players by far. So
we're hearing some shade thrown. What about some of you that work both sides of the coin? What happened with them? Did they pick a side? By that I mean Dorn.
Yeah, Dorn is his skill level was too low, so we dropped him off to the
shade thrown on my homeboy.
I mean, he knows it. I told him. Like, we have a Discord where we moderators and TOs are together, and
I know it.
It's a really good, nice blame game over there. Like, I mean, we have some different roles, and we have like the tormentors who are the tournament organizers, and then we have the Reddit mods like Dawn and me, who have the awesome tech Reddit trash, and you can see how it's going. Like, it's constantly trash talking, but it's friendly, and now we want to battle it out to show who's really superior to the other. And I think we have to lose some games on purpose to make it interesting for the audience. But the end,
you won't know what those are until you lose them. You're like, that was on purpose.
That was for the audience at home.
Yeah, I mean, it would look bad if we like stomp them 3-0 every round. I mean, we consider it like for the final round to really destroy them and show them their place. But I think for the first 2 rounds, it will be okay. I mean, we have Rubber's Moon, who is probably one of the better players in the game. We have Death, who is arguably one of the above mediocre players. And I mean,
you recently picked up a Hungarian handicap.
Yeah,
love you, Doles, but I mean, no.
He's aware that he's trash, but I mean, it's okay. I mean, he's our new guy. We will carry him over the goal line, so it's okay.
Now we need to get Doles on an episode where instead of directing any of this anger, he's just getting at Terse. He just uses it against Juan because Juan was in the room at the time.
Yeah, and didn't defend him. Yeah, that's
exactly. That's what's going to happen.
I mean, you are a really poor teammate, and
come on, Juan.
I think I have to punish you in Lodge Wars somehow. I will figure something out.
You make Juan swap in for a mod for one game just to lose.
And I mean, look at their lineup. If you look at the mods, I mean, God Buddy, have you seen him play the Crucible Warlords? He's obviously trash. I mean, Maxiomo, trash. Showen,
I love this shade. It's amazing.
Creed, I mean, if Creed makes Terra at some point,
this reminds me of the old wrestling promos where he takes the mic from the reporter. Have you seen the other mods? Trash.
I mean, the truth hurts, but somebody has to speak the truth. So obviously, I think I'm one of the weakest links on our team, and even I made it to High Terra, so I don't see us losing. If we lose, we will. Oh God, it would be so embarrassing. I think people would laugh at us like for months. It would be horrible. And I mean, we have a prize pool already confirmed. The winning team will get 1 gold per player and a shout out by EG. So
Not bad. That's better than a card back, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's better than the Lodge Wars gold, pool. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
I
how
missed
long
this.
does
I
it
don't
take?
know.
It's like 15 minutes to stomp then 3 games in a row. So that's like 15 minutes a week. So for 1 gold, it's fine.
I missed
You gotta
this,
make
by
it
the way.
worth your time, no?
Do you mod? Is the Lodge Wars story going to come with a new card back, or is it going to be Blood Games 2 again?
Well,
we don't know yet. Is what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to get the updated card back version, but it should say Lodge Wars instead of Blood Games. As it is with Everguild, they are
ghosting you.
Well, not really. A bit. The last week has been pretty silent, I have to admit, but normally they are often reacting quite fast to us TOs. I think we are friends listed or something by them, so they are aware that what we do and stuff like that. And actually, the Everguild account joined the tournament server and is actually reading through the channels.
No, that could be a mistake.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think you trash talked Everguild in the channels, but I mean
that needs to be changed now that they can see it. Now it's a goal.
Yeah, I mean, if you ping them, well, they probably ban you. I mean, probably worth it.
Sometimes a sacrifice is I will be a martyr.
I mean, I ping Ovion and Showen from time to time just to check if they are still alive. And
you just gotta shake them. You good, buddy? One of them probably is. I don't know about the other.
I mean, that's a good thing if you are like a TO. People don't ban you that easily. I mean, look how far
diplomatic immunity. I gave the German diplomatic immunity.
Oh no, we don't have diplomatic immunity. It's they hate us. They just can't remove us. That's a problem for them.
It's like diplomatic immunity. You hate them, but you can't do anything.
Yeah, probably you're right. And I mean, I really look forward to the tournament. It will be so fun, and I really love the community with their bragging. Like, there's so much friendly banter, like people throwing like shit talking people, and if you know your guys and they know you, it's really entertaining. Like, I think 2 days ago, 7 Circles posted something on the main court, and I engaged with him a bit on very friendly terms, and it was quite entertaining. So I love to trash talk. It's amazing. I mean, you have to know where it stops and what is friendly trash talking and what is really hurting.
What's just a friendly GG?
Yeah, I mean, some people. Some people really deserve it. Like 2 days ago in an event game, I faced the best player in the game, our beloved War Master Rose, and it was quite entertaining. And I had
a long match.
Yeah, and I'm now aware of every single emote Malkador has to offer.
Oh, perfect! Learning experience.
Tragedy.
I mean, it was nice. 12 minutes entertainment, and I was very lucky that I got out on top. I mean, it was like I played Candle, and she's fun to play, but she's not the best event choice, I have to admit. But it was fun, and
she's a cool unique warlord.
Yeah, and I mean, the word chat sometimes has to be used to shit talk some players. So, well, I saw.
I mean, it has to, no? Just has to.
What else does it exist for?
I mean, it's there. It's like
It
practically
exists for
asking
two
for
things.
it.
To shit talk players and beg for referral links. Nothing else.
And look at the way it's dressed. It's just begging to be shit talked.
All right, I walked into the wrong place, and Juan, let's lock arms and walk out of here.
That's a little much.
Sir.
Well, how about you, Juan? You got anything to plug?
I mean, I want to shout out Lehman Russ 80. He's starting to post more videos again. He's a YouTuber up and coming. And if you want to see the Lodge Wars games or flat out any old tournament games, he still has the World Cup ones uploaded. You should check out Balgard's channel, which I'm sure Scuff could plug. I think that's everything I want to shout out, though.
Balgard is pretty cool. He didn't like me making French jokes to him once, but it was playful. Don't worry. He's a cool guy. I'm going to speak Shaq to him to see if he eventually stabs me.
Speak Shaq.
Honestly, there are some really great YouTubers, and if you aren't on the subreddit already, we have all those channels linked. I think we don't have Lehman Russ channels, so if you are listening, Lehman, contact me, give me your link, and I will add you to the side of the Reddit page as well, so people can enjoy your videos. But yeah, absolutely check all those YouTubers and Twitchers out. They are often very entertaining, great players, and you can learn a lot from them. And sometimes they even cast other games, like from different tournaments, be it World Cup, be it Lodge Wars, whatever is coming up next. So absolutely, obviously join the Discord. It's a great community. You will have a lot of fun.
All right. How about you, Axel? You got anything to plug?
I don't think I got anything to plug, except the usual. I'm going to plug my boy Doran, even though all this shade was tossed at him, all this hate speech. He's an amazing artist, and he did my beautiful profile picture. He is Doran Stash on Instagram, and Drew Lee Clark. He has 2 accounts. One is for Warhammer Focus, one isn't. One is mainly cats, which is good enough for me.
Cats like Andrew Lloyd Webber's cats?
No. The pets. The fluffy whiskered ones that
Cats on
are
Broadway?
menaces to society.
Okay.
Like H.P. Lovecraft's cat.
There you go. Well, I'm going to
No, not H.P. Lovecraft cat. Shut up, Juan.
I'm going to plug deck slots as I have already, and as I mentioned at the start of the episode, the promo code contest. But beyond that, I really don't have a whole lot to plug. So keep listening. If you are interested in being part of the podcast, hit me up. And otherwise, that's it for me, guys. So thank you guys, Terse, Juan. Thank you guys for making it and being part of the episode tonight. And looking forward to.
Pleasure.
I think next week I might be talking with King BB, I believe, is next up on the list. And I'm not quite sure what are the topics we're going to be covering, but we might be talking about mental health and the ladder grind, which is an interesting topic that he recommended. So I think that's something to cover. All right. Well, thank you guys again, and we'll talk later. Bye.
We're talking to y'all. Bye.
Ciao.
The sunlight dims.
This has been another episode of the Warp Chatter Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Eternal loyalty!
Burn it! Burn it all! Well executed!